Welcome to CW Football Saturday. It's presented by Olive Garden's never-ending pasta bowl. Let's get onto the sideline and proud papa, Nigel Burt.
Thanks, Ted. Absolutely proud papa. And listen, Oregon State fans should be proud of this defense. Good defenses want to do a couple things, create takeaways, be great on 3rd and 4th down, and make sure down in the red zone you are stingy. And last week, taking a look at Nigel's notebook, they were all that and then some against Washington State. When you take a look at what they did, 4th quarter, 4th and 7, you had my man, Jaheim, who had 2 interceptions, huge in terms of takeaways with the big 4th down stop. And then, critical moment, down in the red zone, be great in the red zone. Again, he and Nico Taylor with the stop, getting Washington State off the field. They missed the attempted field goal. Beavs come home with the win. They've got to be great in those things tonight if they want to have another great defensive performance against Sam Houston State.
All right, Nigel's son was with Washington today in their game at Wisconsin. That's the reference. Here we go with the kick, and we're underway with Oregon State wearing the basic black with orange. And look at this breakout and a good return to start things for Oregon State. That is Elijah Washington, another player we haven't seen before this year. Washington on the kick return. And the quarterback questions for both teams have been answered. Jabari Johnson will start tonight for the Beavers. Hunter Watson, the long-time starter for Sam Houston, will not. We'll talk about that when the Bearcats have the ball. Johnson, who played much of last week's game in his first career start, hurt a foot late, was able to practice this week. And there you go with a good bounce by Hankerson and an excellent first play.
You know, this is our 4th game now that we're calling for Oregon State this year, and what we've seen from Anthony Hankerson is he just seems more stable, more balanced than he was earlier in the year when he was banged up. He's gotten healthy, and he's just been dominant for this football team over the last couple of weeks, getting their first wins of the season.
And credit to what Hankerson has achieved like that. Again, Oregon State has really had to patch and mix and match on their offensive front. Look at that gap right up the middle. One of the seniors, 55 on that offensive line, Van Wells, the center, in his 38th career start tonight. And he's been the one, pretty much the anchor in that O-line.
He's the only one that's really been healthy enough to go every week. And it's good when your lone guy is the center who's the one making all the calls up front.
Bryce Caulfield in, 2 tight ends on the field for the Beavers. And Hankerson again bounces off the first hit. Well, there you go. 3 plays establish what the Beavers would like to think is the theme. Find out if Sam Houston can stop us from running.
Well, a week ago, they couldn't stop anybody from running as they were just run through in that game. And looking what this offense can do up front, they've just absolutely pushed the defensive line off the line of scrimmage by a couple yards every single time they've handed the ball off so far. Watch for Jabari Johnson in the zone read game, getting out on the perimeter as well.
First 3 plays, 37 rush yards for Hankerson. And he's going to get it again. This time, Sam Houston bottles up the middle as we'll look at keys of the game, brought to you by Sky Rizzi.
Keys to the game. This is for the Oregon State Beavers. Keep running the ball. Last 2 games, of course, 256 yards. As for Sam Houston, tackle, tackle, tackle. You have to get guys to the ground. If you let him get to the 2nd level or to the 3rd level, it's going to be a real problem for them in this game.
That's Hatcher running back. 2nd running back is in motion. Zach Reichel also in alongside Johnson. Jabari Johnson pulls the ball, throws it on the run. And spinning and staying inbounds is Eddie Freoff, and he's inside the 5 and gets a little help. And the push is going to take him down closer, marked at the 2.
Eddie Freoff is a receiver for the Beavers that the coaching staff has told us from week to week. Some of the plays he makes in practice are outstanding, and then there's some times where he just doesn't seem to know where he's at. Great job of catching the ball and then staying in bounds with the spin, being physical, and almost getting into the end zone for a touchdown.
1st and goal at the 2. Big package in here. Hankerson behind Johnson. Now they're going to direct snap to Hankerson, a formation the Beavers have used quite a bit this year, and it succeeds. An emphatic opening drive, touchdown Oregon State.
Jabari Johnson just takes off with a little motion, and then you have two blockers in front of the always physical Hankerson, who bounds into the end zone for the first touchdown of the game.
Well, that on the Oregon State side is ecstatic. On the Sam Houston side, you're thinking that was too easy. That was 71 yards on 6 plays for Oregon State. Nice job there by A.J. Windsor to put that ball down, and Ojeda kicks through the 7th point. And so this is the way for one of the 18 seniors honored to start, Hankerson.
Free off first catches the ball. Watch him stay in bounds, and that leads to Hankerson into the end zone for pay dirt for the first score of the game.
Welcome back to CW Football Saturday, presented by Olive Garden's never-ending Pasta Bowl, starting at $13.99. And this Tuesday on NXT, match everyone has been waiting for. Last man standing matchup, Trick Williams and Ricky Saints for the NXT Men's Championship. NXT Tuesday at 8, 7 Central, right here on the CW. Kind of strange. It's a different year for the two Pac-12 schools that are playing this year and basically playing as independents, Oregon State and Washington State. It does feel weird. This is the last home game. Seems early, doesn't it?
It seems very early.
The kickoff here is going to be run back by Sam Houston, and Oregon State covers it shy of the 20-yard line. Tim Burns on the return there. So Sam Houston, and just to set the stage, Sam Houston State is their official name. They are part of the Texas State University system. Texas State, one of the schools, is going to be in the Pac-12 next year. There in Huntsville, Texas, is Sam Houston, about 70 miles north of Houston. And their starting quarterback is here, but he's not going to play tonight. Hunter Watson out with an injury, and so Mabry Matoyer gets the start, and he is a Texan from the Woodlands, which is just north of Houston. And a handoff goes on the first down play to running back Coco Brown. Matoyer is a guy who came to Sam Houston for opportunity because he came with the head coach now, Phil Longo. Both were at Wisconsin.
And he's a good-looking quarterback. 6'5", 225 pounds. I was down on the field there before the game looking at him, and you know, you put him in those cleats too, and all of a sudden he's as big as me. And that stature is exactly what Phil Longo wants. Just needs him to be accurate. He needs time up front to get it done.
We saw Phil Longo in his first year as the Sam Houston head coach. Deep shot here. Matoyer airs it out, and it's not caught by Burns. Tim Burns running down there with Jalil Tucker on the cover for Oregon State. Here's our impact players, brought to you by Old Spice.
Tim Burns is one of them, who just was there. If he would have slowed down a little bit to catch it, he's been their big-time playmaker on the defense. Shamar Meikle, who a week ago really kind of came into his own. He has 6 tackles for loss. It leads the team. Watch on him as the edge rusher getting after the quarterback.
Boy, was that a difference? Oregon State, last week, 6 sacks. Sacks was a huge problem for the Beavers, really, for a year and a half. Matoyer is harassed from behind and dropped. That is Walker Harris.
Walker Harris just stays with it, comes all the way around that, gets a hold of Matoyer and doesn't let him go, rips him to the ground for another sack by this Oregon State Beavers defense.
Boy, that's great. First sack as a Beaver for Walker Harris. He was one of the players honored, 5th year of football. One of the 18 that were honored before the game tonight. So just think about last in FBS football in sacks last year. Look at Trent Walker catching that on the run. And Walker is going to give Oregon State just a fabulous drive start here inside the Sam Houston 40 when we come back. And I would imagine the families were lined up at the Beaver store, and then they stopped in at Dutch Brothers on their way in. You're watching CW Football Saturday, presented by Olive Garden's never-ending pasta bowl, starting at $13.99 and now with spicy 3-meat sauce. And by Royal Caribbean. Come seek. 2-year defensive captain for the Beavers, Skylar Thomas. He's from the San Francisco Bay Area. Trent Walker, born and bred Oregonian. Beavers all the way. Stayed here despite having chances to go somewhere else for his final year. He's had a remarkable career the last 2 years here. It really has been his career, 138 catches.
It's been remarkable, his ability to get open and make catches over the last 2 years.
There's Hankerson bouncing it again, getting outside, and there was a last, it looks like as the tackle happened, could that be a face mask flag that came in? In this world of college football today, we'll just talk about football, our sport for tonight, Ryan, where
personal foul, face mask, defense, number 97, 15 yards added to the end of the run, automatic first down.
Referee John Love, and we should get a view of this, but watch Hankerson, and you say, okay, everybody today seems to be moving at least once, if not 3 or 4 times to schools. And rather than just calmly, blindly pointing it out, it's nice to point out the ones that work. Hankerson was at Colorado for 2 years. And the first year of the current show there, he wasn't so thrilled, so he came here for 2 seasons. And has it ever worked? Flag. That's David Wells.
Little shovel pass of sorts to Wells on the loop around, and he picks up a couple yards there on first down. But, you know, talking about Hankerson, just talking about players in general in this new landscape of college football. I'll get back to that here in a second.
Johnson trying to get outside, can't. That's the first time Sam Houston has been able to hold the edge, and that's their linebacker Antavius Fish, who's been, they're all new on the Sam Houston defense this year. He's been the guy you see on the back of the helmet, where's the green dot that signifies he gets the defensive calls.
Yeah, and he's the leader. He's the, you know, the player that understands defense the best, gets guys lined up, was right there on the spot on a pull, because that certainly isn't scouted, because we haven't seen anybody from Oregon State do that at the quarterback position all year long.
Quick throw into the middle of the field. Johnson just getting it to the hands of Taz Reddix, but Sam Houston bottles that up, and that's going to likely force a field goal here. Tokyo Gordon on the hit for the Sam Houston defense, and that'll bring the Beaver field goal unit out.
You know, when a team hasn't won a game, getting them to get out there and play hard every single snap is one of the more difficult things to do if you're a head football coach. And I will say this, you watch the film, they were really, you know, mismatched against in terms of personnel on the defensive side of the football, but they're playing hard, and then showed there on that drive.
All right, 33 yards here for Caleb Ojeda. And Ojeda drills it through, and so the Beavers have done exactly what they want with Rob Akey, and it's something that, look, as it's 10-0 Beavers. To follow up on your point, Ryan, Rob Akey had inherited the same situation here. It's a season that has completely gone off the rails. They ask you to finish the year. How do you get guys to respond? He has done that.
Well, you saw him the moment he walked into our meeting after Coach Bray was let go, and he had to bring some enthusiasm. You know, he had to make a change, and he's done that. I mean, that's what he is. He's an emotional leader. He's an enthusiastic leader, and it's been something that they needed here. It's a little different than, of course, what they were going through. The frustration had mounted to a point where there's been a bit of a relief, like a pressure valve was dispensed, and he's had a lot of fun doing it. You know, he likes to lead these young men. He likes to energize them, and he came in with the right mentality, talking to them about the things that they can control, and that was their attitude, their effort, and their behavior. And we've seen a really good version of those 3 things over the last few weeks.
All right, here's the kickoff. Cameron Smith drills it. That'll be a touchback. Yeah, we constantly look for the right moment. And can you be the right person at the right moment. Rob Akey, at the moment he was needed this year, was for Oregon State. And I love, because you asked him yesterday, right, and he emphasized again, you know, he's tried to talk a little bit to Trent Bray, and he just has amazing empathy for him.
Because he's in a tough spot too.
Yeah.
I mean, this is going to be the staff most likely and himself their last
Absolutely.
game coaching here as well, unless something changes. You know, so
Right.
it's the world they live in as coaches.
Exactly. And Rob said that to us yesterday. He made the line, "Hey, look, it could be coaches and players in the portal."
Yes.
That's just the reality. And, there's a good run up the middle there. That's Elijah Green, who emerged last week in the second half. Sam Houston really got blown out at Louisiana Tech, but Green ran for 190, almost all of it in the second half. And this is a guy that has some big-time cred. He started his career at North Carolina, playing for head coach Mack Brown, and Phil Longo was the OC.
And he's got some pretty good genes. His dad's Victor Green, if you recall, played for the Jets all those years. Good friend of mine. We do a lot of golf together there on the East Coast. Told your son you loved him, big fella, before the game, and he had a big old smile when I did.
Good. Sam Houston, just their third year of playing FBS football. We should point that out for those who are not aware. As Green has run out of bounds. Looks like for a lot of people around the country who might be watching late night here, that not totally up to speed. This was an FCS strong team, including a national championship team in 21, Sam Houston. And they got the invite to jump up to play in CUSA. There it is, perfect timeline. So it's only their third year of full. Last year they won 10 games, including a bowl game, but then the head coach, Casey Keeler, was recruited and went to Temple. A lot of other guys left, defense all left. Phil Longo comes in as the head coach, and they've had to really start from pretty close to ground zero. There's Alton McCaskill in the game. McCaskill has been in and out of the lineup this year with injury. Out there to give them a short third down.
Good balance on McCaskill's part here. He's able to shed a block or a tackler and another tackler, keep his hand on the ground and pick up a few more to make it more of a manageable third down opportunity.
Phil Longo will have a chance to get more into that, but his whole background, his roots as an offensive coordinator, air raid.
We know a little bit about something about that, though, we Ted.
McCaskill here, and he admitted as that's going to bring up fourth down. And what we've seen these last two plays of the difference, he admitted to us, Mike Leach was his mentor on air raid, but he said one difference might be, I like to run the ball too.
Well, there's what Mike Leach does in what he did in terms of replacing the running game was those
sideline
little side to side
sideway throws.
Yeah,
right.
throws to an extension of the running game. If you don't go to those necessarily, you just run to the outside. It's all about leverage and numbers and those big splits with the offensive lineman.
All right, here we go. A 4th and 1. It's a full yard. Matoyer gives it to McCaskill, and he is dropped. And I don't think that mark is going to get it for him. Tyree Blake in the game and makes the 4th down stop just as his coach Nigel Burton taught him. How about that? Nigel Burton, who coached Tyree Blake at Jesuit High in Portland. Phil Longo's asking. And the decision on the field with the mark. John Love referee signals ball to Oregon State. Oregon State a little thin at the linebacker, and that's why Blake getting a chance to play tonight and delivers with this 4th down stop.
Well, welcome back to CW Football Saturday, brought to you by Olive Garden. Beavs on that 4th down stop going into the break. They run a little inside linebacker blitz, double A gap, and my man Tyree Blake, Jesuit High School in Portland, Oregon, making a big stop for the Beavs. When he was playing linebacker for us with the Crusaders, I said, listen, son, you are way too nice. I need you to watch a movie. It's called The Program. It was made back in the 90s. There's a character named Alvin Mack. He was not a nice guy. I need you to play like that guy. And he looked just like that, fellas, on that 4th down stop. Nice job by old Tyree Blake.
How about Nigel? What a day for Nigel. His son Jace, who's at the University of Washington, had a chance to travel, was with the traveling team to Madison for their game today. Anthony Hankerson plows straight ahead, and that's about 5 on first down. Shafon Boyd on the stop for Sam Houston. Hankerson is closing in on 2 big milestone numbers, 1,000 for the season and 2,000 for his Beaver career. His first quarter's looking like he may get there.
Well, I mean, you just got to keep giving the ball. Their ability to dominate the defensive front. They're more of a 4-3 defense. They use a stand-up edge to make it a 4-3 defense, and they call him the Beast. He hasn't been incredibly beastly, though, today. Little flea flicker.
Pitch back, looking for Walker, not there. Trent Walker, that was the play, but he was doubled going deep.
And then David Wells is wide open coming across the middle, and is a good look at it. We're going to take Walker's going to go over the top of the post, but David Wells comes across here and is the guy open. It just depends on whether Jabari Johnson has enough time. It looks like he does, but hesitates and then ultimately takes the sack. Yeah, he could have put that in there perfectly to David Wells across the middle for a big play on second down.
Loss of 7 on Sam Houston's first sack. So needing 12, and Johnson, nope, can't get out. Well, he thought for a minute he saw an opening, and Dylan Frazier closed it and engulfed him.
Here's our impact player on defense. Dylan Frazier's back this week, and he just stays with them, and then just the power to go and get Jabari Johnson on the ground. That's significant from a defense that has been so porous. But they got a couple guys back, Dylan Frazier being one of them from injury. He makes a huge impact there on third down to set up a punt.
Bryce Caulfield active tonight on the field as the tight end. The Impact Players brought to you by Old Spice. Well, they saw a lot of punting here. Ooh, wow, Windsor has to get that kickoff quickly, and does so nicely. On this field last week, there were 17 points and 17 punts.
We don't need to keep referencing last week, you know. They're going to play again. You and I are going to call it, and that's what's going to be most important. All right, that's the deal.
That'll be the final game of the year.
Listen,
in Pullman here on CW.
Listen, so we started with the meeting with Coach Akey, and I give him a little hard time. He's a former Coug, but the interim head coach here, and he looked at me and he said, "I'm glad we made you upset, Ryan." That's what he told me.
Well, Sam Houston State only had 9 sacks all year. They were struggling in that category. They've had 2 so far in this first quarter. Now getting going again with Mabry Matoyer handing it off, and Elijah Green. 3 different running backs for Sam Houston. We've seen them all in this first quarter.
And this is the first time where they've all been really healthy at the same time. It's just been a real difficult thing for them, shuffling them guys in and out. Elijah Green was really powerful there on that last series. He picked up a couple big yardage gains when they picked up the first down, and then we didn't see him the rest of the drive before they had to punt or turnover on downs.
Matoyer arcing one deep down the sideline for Burns, and that's going to be called. There was a little bit of hand jostling, and Jalil Tucker, I think, going to get flagged for too much.
Pass interference, defense, number 22, 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Some hand checking there, and I'm not too impressed with that call. The guys are kind of going back at it. He didn't really hold him.
That's what I was looking for too, and as always, Michael Mothershed is with us. Michael?
I think they're just going back and forth. I don't think any one player has an advantage over the other.
Yeah,
I know Nigel's
shocked. I feel better that we see it the same way Michael sees it.
Yeah, and I'm sure Nigel's shocked that I don't think it's pass interference.
Yeah. Green with a nice job there, but Aiden Sullivan has been terrific add this year. Didn't start the season for the Beavers, but they're starting back. Rajon Davis went out early with an injury, and Sullivan has really picked it up.
The throw starts it all off, right? The throw is not a great throw, not accurate on his back shoulder, makes Elijah stop. And anytime a skill position player or somebody receiving the ball has to stop like that, it allows the down the field runner like Aiden Sullivan coming downhill to go right at his legs. No chance for Elijah Green to do much there because the throw was so poor.
And that running play is going to be bottled up for nothing. Run by McCaskill. Oregon State also again playing again tonight without Dexter Foster, one of the key defenders. That inside linebacker spot really thinned. And Issa Tuiaki, who was taking over and kind of running the defense with the coaching change, has really had to mix and match people. We see Tyree Blake in there tonight. Andy Alfieri's out there right now. Another one of the 18 honored on senior night here. Third and long. McCaskill is the back alongside Metoyer. Metoyer's going to try to get out. Alfieri didn't let him get by. Another Jesuit high school product from Portland, Andy Alfieri.
You know what Andy does a really good job here is once the quarterback breaks contain, he gets them to kind of go back inside, back into all his brothers funneling towards him. Big long legs of Metoyer. If he could have got to the outside, he had maybe a chance to pick up a first down, but Andy Alfieri does a great job of funneling him back inside, like I said, and brought to the ground, setting up fourth down and a punt.
All right, from Australia, Curtis Durand is the punter. And Trent Walker, fair catches. Wow, we're going to get this in. We're going to have a new leaf in the first quarter.
Woo! It is fall. The foliage is beautiful, as is that man on the screen. The biggest thing, and this is something that we haven't seen much of, Sauce Walker catching a touchdown last year, October 26th at Cal. Ted, this shocked me. Studying up on this, Walker has yet to catch a touchdown or score a touchdown here in Reser Stadium.
Reser Stadium, and that's something that Rob Akey, well aware of it. There's the first throw of the night to Walker, and he drops it. And that's that right now there's no whistle. That's going to be a scoop for Sam Houston, and a ball right now near the 10. This is the way this play is always officiated, is let it go, don't blow it dead, and then replay can correct if needed. But on the field, live ball recovered.
Rolling on the field is a fumble recovered by the defense. That is the end of the first quarter.
So it's the end of the first quarter, and we'll see. Obviously, we'll review this.
It's a throw to the guy we were just talking about, Walker. He tries to make a play and a wonderful job of knocking the ball out. Cecil Powell ultimately picks it up and gets them into a great situation.
Well, Coach, you had a big play right there. Looks like you might get the ball back in the red zone. How do you keep that momentum going?
Well, that's what we need to do. We just gained some momentum with the turnover. Offense has got to answer the call down here in the red zone, which was an emphasis for us all week. Wasn't where we played very well last week. We're going to have to answer it right now.
Appreciate the time, Coach.
All right, our first quarter stats from Carl's Jr. You see all the dominance and yardage and all for Oregon State, but right now the turnover is going to give Sam Houston a chance to negate a lot of that.
Well, you know, talking to you during the break, this is exactly what Oregon State doesn't need to happen, and what has happened over the last 3 series they've had the football.
McCaskill on no, it's Metoyer keeping it and throwing for a touchdown. Well, pass is caught by Grady O'Neal, which is his first career touchdown.
This is a great play call. Gets the big fella out on the perimeter, and he puts a nice high ball.
Downfield. Offense number 7.
Whoa.
Penalty. First down.
How about that? Didn't see that flag come down.
No, we didn't. Rhett
They
Larson, their
Yeah.
right guard. When you run play action, he just finds himself behind in no man's land, hunting somebody
wow.
up down the field about 5 yards from the line of scrimmage, and that's just a little too far. A big penalty, something that Coach Longo just talked about.
He was 6 yards beyond the line of scrimmage, and that's, again, you get a grace margin there, but not that much. Metoyer looking back to his left, throws across and has the ball completed just inside the 10. It was Austin Smith on the catch. Should mention that Oregon State, one area they've struggled with this year is the turnovers. They're -8 now. And believe it or not, Oregon State, and this is their 10th game of the year, they have not recovered a fumble this year.
Well, we just came a couple weeks ago from a Washington State game where they hadn't gotten an interception the entire year into that game.
So it's second down on the 10. McCaskill the back. And there's a good play. That's Ty-G Hill on the defensive front. Stops McCaskill for nothing. Nigel?
Yeah, Ted, you know, we've been watching the Sam Houston defense struggle to stop the run with Oregon State because they haven't been able to set the edge and guys aren't filling correctly. You look at this Oregon State defense, a lot of what we saw last week continuing, really doing a great job being gap sound, setting the edge, and then rallying to the football. It's been really impressive.
And they have one more play here to see if they can force a field goal. There is a first down available at the 1. Coco Brown the back. He's a very good receiver. Back shoulder throw there, and Tucker defends it well against Burns of Sam Houston. And field goal team comes out.
You know, anytime you kind of predetermine where you're going with the football, Tucker does a great job of getting his eyes back, using his right hand while in phase, turns, and then uses the left hand to knock it away. Huge development there for Sam Houston, an opportunity to get in the end zone on the first play because of the penalty. Now has to attempt a field goal instead of getting 7.
Christian Pavon is their kicker, 29 yards. And he missed it. Wow, that's well, we saw that last week, didn't we? That same reaction from Rob Akey.
Timeout.
And the frustration for Sam Houston continues. That's a 0 they didn't want. Well, a huge escape there for Oregon State. They get out without Sam Houston scoring off the turnover. Beaver defense, Ryan.
And that takes us to the Royal Caribbean game summary so far. It's been all Oregon State defense. Big help. First, Walker Harris, the senior, gets around and makes a big sack, something they've been really good with over the last couple weeks. Followed up by Jaheim Patterson setting the edge, and then the gap being filled by Burke on 4th down to get the stop. And then you have Jaleel Tucker on the edge. Locked down defense by this Beaver squad who hasn't allowed a point in over 3 quarters now. And that's your Royal Caribbean game summary.
Drive start at the 20, and Hankerson gets 5 on first down. And that's the secret. C.J. Brown on the stop for Sam Houston, but that's the secret for Oregon State right now is these almost every first down play, they're getting at least 5.
Well, they're just running the football. You know, they started to kind of hiccup a little bit after that great touchdown drive, a field goal, then the punt, and of course the fumble. Just run the football. There's no reason not to unless they put all 11 defenders inside the box, which they can't do.
Of course, the question, and we went in our visit with Rob Akey yesterday about this, you know, you wonder as Hankerson closes in on 200 carries and there's still 2 games to play, what is left in the tank for him?
Plenty. I mean, the guy is a workhorse. He likes it that way. It almost feels like he gets more revved up the more touches he gets. That's just not heard of these days. You know, it's about taking care of the body as a running back and not going too many carries. He doesn't care. He wants this team to win, wants to finish strong as a Beaver. He'll carry it as much as he's asked to.
So on 3rd down, Danny Langsdorff calling the plays, and that one's dialed up for a first down and a lot more. Roaring all the way across midfield is Gabe Milborn.
Milborn's really stepped into a role with the injury to Bryce Caulfield, but now with both of them back, they're able to both be on the field at the same time, and he frees up completely on the drag underneath for 26 yards for the big fella out of Sonora, California for a first down.
All right, we have a Sam Houston defender down on the Oregon State sideline, so that's going to stop play while the Sam Houston medical team runs across the field. So Oregon State crossing midfield up 10-0. You're watching CW Football Saturday. It's presented by Olive Garden's never-ending pasta bowl, starting at $13.99, and now with spicy 3-meat sauce. And by Jared Jewelers. Shop their new storied Diamond Desert Sands of Eternity. It's been a really nice sign this year. Even, again, this football season has gone nowhere near where Beaver Nation hoped and expected. Students have been here. Students have been here every time.
It's a fun thing to do, go to football games when you're a student on a campus such as this. It's beautiful. You're in college, you're young, and had some good football over the last few weeks to watch too.
So here we go again. Look at just the huge gap right up the middle, and Hankerson takes it inside the 40 and it is a first down to Oregon State.
Yeah, essentially just a trap play, and it does exactly that. Huge hole, almost the size of the hash marks that Hankerson runs through and picks up the first down.
There you see his numbers, and again, if he stays healthy with 2 games plus 3/4 of this one left, 1,000 yards seems likely for him.
Which, as I said in the open, would be only the second. It'd be the first time since Jaquiz Rogers back in 2009 and 2010. A long time to have back-to-back 1,000-yard rushers in 2 seasons in which, you know, Beavers fans out there would say they weren't incredibly successful. You have a guy that's been consistent and been able to be thought upon and used in the capacity that's needed.
Over the middle, caught to the 25, and just inside goes Taz Reddix. Nope, flag down. So that's gonna.
I think they're probably going to have guys ineligible down the field as well.
Ineligible player downfield, offense, number 55. 5-yard penalty, second down.
All right, it's the center, Van Wells.
Michael, I wanted to ask you a question here. At the NFL level, it doesn't matter if the ball's thrown behind the line of scrimmage, but at the collegiate level, if that ball is thrown behind the line of scrimmage, does it matter if players are down the field, ineligible players are down the field blocking?
Yeah, it's really where the ball is touched. So if that ball is touched behind the line and you don't have ineligibles downfield, the ball has to be touched beyond the line.
And that's what I thought. It looked like the pass was creeping just past the line of scrimmage, would allow them to make that call.
Play action throw to Milbourne, gets it back down to the 30, and that's going to leave a short third down. C.J. Johnson tackles for Sam Houston. And now Beavers trying to go quick. Walker to the bottom. Handoff inside is going to get the first down. And the Beavers just riding Hankerson here in the first half. They have used Cornell Hatcher as a second back, and Saladin Alla is back tonight and available to play for the first time in several weeks.
Now this number is going to be taken differently now. Most rush attempts FBS this season. You have Kwan Lacey down at Ole Miss, and then Cam Cook at Jacksonville State, and there's our boy Anthony Hankerson inching his way up there to be the workhorse of the FBS this season.
Quarter plus 12 carries. And there's 13. Ooh, and man, how about that? Zyke Lawton all over that play for Sam Houston.
You know, there was a couple guys that we were looking at on the defensive line. He's just unblocked.
Yes.
When you're not going to block somebody, you should be able to put all 260 plus pounds down on Hankerson, who had just received the ball when he was hit.
Yeah, you can see Gabe Milbourne, the tight end, kind of looking around going, wait a minute, how'd that happen? How'd that happen?
And then Hankerson looks like he's a little banged up, probably just give me a little break here. I'll be ready to go here in a second.
Right, Cornell Hatcher is the back. And Johnson throws the out. Nice catch there by Walker and a good tackle. Didn't let him turn up the sideline. C.J. Johnson there for Sam Houston.
It's a tremendous job by C.J. Johnson. He does a great job in staying in his zone out towards the flat. And then as soon as the ball is caught, he rallies and gets Walker to the ground for just a slight pickup.
Yeah, just a 3-yard gain. So 3rd and 11 for Oregon State. And Johnson can't get away, trying to use his legs to get out. But he didn't escape Tokyo Gordon. Let's see what this flag is. This flag is back in the secondary, which doesn't bode well for the defense.
Holding defense, number 13. 10-yard penalty, automatic first down.
The back end here, Tyler Bailey called for the penalty there, their safety. Their back end has had a lot of trouble because their defensive front hasn't been able to generate any sacks or any pressure all year. Just that, and that's an instance where Jabari Johnson had all day to throw. Can't expect those defensive backs on the back end to hold up for that long, and that's where the defensive holding penalty comes to be.
What a break. Another penalty that hurts Sam Houston, gives Oregon State a first. In the red zone, and Hankerson back in for a short gain. Cecil Powell on the tackle. You start talking about Jacquizz Rodgers, and we're saying that, you know, since the turn of the century, Oregon State has had just tremendous running backs here, with going back to Ken Simonton, Steven Jackson, of course the great Steven Jackson, Evanson Bernard, and Jacquizz Rodgers. All of them had back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons.
And no one since.
Hankerson breaks through. Hankerson to the house. Touchdown, Oregon State.
I mean, fellas, this is just great individual effort. There are players at the point of attack for Sam Houston, but that man is just that guy. Breaking through tackles, running with authority, touchdown Beavs.
Mama, there goes that man.
And that is a bad man, mama.
9th rushing touchdown of the year. Hankerson closing in on 900 yards for the season. And Oregon State, 17-0.
Timeout on the field.
Where's that C? He's earned that C as Anthony Hankerson.
That's for Carey.
Oh, the halftime show is coming up in just a couple minutes. It's presented by Liberty Mutual Insurance. Only pay for what you need. George Reister, Michael Bumpus will join me in studio. George is smiling. Used to rock that Ducks uniform. Get to relive some of those dramatic moments for Oregon, and we'll show you a finish for Indiana, the number 2 team in the country, that you have to absolutely see. We'll see you in just a few minutes.
Yeah, Mike, that was extraordinary. You see Hankerson's last 4 games, but you got to say, the drive that Indiana put on to win the game was a football definition of a miracle.
Yeah, and there's Heisman moments. There always is. There's always something that people reach to and look at for those who win the Heisman Trophy, and that may be just that for Mendoza with that drive and how good he was during the entirety of it until that touchdown
Unbelievable,
pass.
just across the 25-yard line. Just think, a couple years ago, the kid was interning at Pac-12 Network. But and
this Veterans Day, News Nation's Leland Vertet takes you inside America's most historic military academy, West Point, and sits down with best-selling author Bill O'Reilly to explore the leadership that made the United States a world superpower. America's Greatest Warriors, Tuesday at 10/9 Central on News Nation. To find News Nation on your screen, go to newsnationnow.com.
all right, delay handoff there, and it's broken up. Boy, Matoyer with the delayed handoff to Elijah Green. And there's Tavita Pomeye.
Timeout on the field for injury.
And we have a
It's Elijah.
yeah, it's Elijah Green. He is getting up slowly. And just to tack on, Ryan, we were talking about the Mendoza, what he did today for Indiana, and then Oregon, and of course up here, that's a big deal. That last drive to win, Dante Moore, a pass on that drive, my jaw dropped. Now I need to hear from QB1. What'd you think?
Yeah, it was an incredible throw, but the catch for me, I don't know how he caught it. He couldn't see it. It just lands in his, really the crutch of his right arm, and he is able to hold it down in the wet, in the weather at Iowa. Really great win for the Ducks on the road.
Now look at this. Oh, the field just opened up, and Metoyer takes advantage and runs for, by far, Sam Houston's biggest play. That's a 28-yard gain into Oregon State territory.
Yeah, wonderful job by Metoyer stepping up into the pocket. And then when he gets out to the perimeter, he just takes off and is able to outrun Burke and pick up a big first down. This is something that this offense needs to do. They need to generate some first downs, keep their defense off the field, find a way to get some points before halftime.
Sam Houston had a good offensive week last week.
500 yards
against Louisiana Tech. Right, the score wasn't great, but at least the offense clicked. And Metoyer's pass is not held on the outside by Chris Reed, who is coming into this week, leads Sam Houston's receivers in yardage. Metoyer, again, is a guy that has played a little bit. Phil Longo knew him from Wisconsin. Back up tonight is a freshman, Landon Locke, who has played a bit this year. Also somebody Phil Longo was involved in recruiting him to play at Wisconsin.
I feel like that's kind of the nature of all football right now. You have to have some sort of relationship to find somebody to get them to your school, starting to build that culture.
It's crept into football. I've heard it first in basketball. Coaches, I'm going back maybe 15, 20 years, but guys like Lon Kruger, Brian Dutcher at San Diego State were the guys that taught me that you can't survive on transfers unless you've recruited them originally. You have the relationship built from that.
Phil Longo said something to us this week about how he refuses to believe that this is only going to be transactional. That's the relationships that are being built over time, and that's what's going to ultimately make them strong in this move to the FBS.
All right, can Sam Houston, now they have a makeable third and 4. And Metoyer's pass tipped and incomplete. We'll see Zakai Saez in on that, Walker Harrison on that, Ty G. Hill. Let's see who finally gets a hand on this.
And Metoyer, he's just young, and there's no reason for him to vacate that pocket. If he was able to stand still, he had the crosser, his second or third possible read, coming across the middle. Instead, he prematurely pushes out to the perimeter, and that allows
Timeout, Sam Houston State, their first of the half.
Saez to get his hands up and in the passing lane and knock it down.
All right, so Phil Longo has just taken a timeout. He had sent the punt team out. I wonder if that will be a reconsider here on 4th and 4. Sam Houston, and so much needs to be delved deeply. There's a lot made. They just have a very poor third down number this year. I'm got to believe a lot of their third downs have been marathons.
Yeah,
this is a makeable 4 yards for them.
There's an always, prerequisite to what those numbers mean. Yeah. You should break it down probably into third and long, third and medium, third and short, exactly. So you understand what their true percentage is. They don't have anything to lose. They haven't won a game. Oregon State coaches know exactly what kind of team they are and what they're going to bring to the table. It looks like they're going to trot out the punt team now too. They also understand here that probably the worst thing that could happen is for them to get a turnover on downs that puts the Beavers in a more manageable chance to score before half. They hope now, pinning them back, they'll get the ball once more before halftime.
I would suggest Oregon State has been alerted to potential fake. Not going to happen. And that's the perfect end-over-end kick, and then it takes the perfect bounce. So that's as good as you could ask for if you're going to punt the ball down inside the 5.
Now you make a team go 95 yards against a defense that
Curtis Durand getting the congratulations. We had a chance to visit with Trent a few weeks ago when we were here, Ryan, and it's really a terrific story again, because this is a guy in this era of college football, after he had a breakout season last year, he had offers. Could have gone and chose to come back and finish in this place that means so much to him and his family.
Well, there's something to the thing you watched when you were a kid and wanting to be that, and then ultimately accomplishing that and getting to where that you don't want to leave it.
Nigel, you know well about that. You have a lot of roots here.
Yeah, you know, I actually got a chance to coach against Trent when he was at Beaverton High School and got to know his dad and his family really well. The thing that I thought, if you go back to the picture, how about the glow up, right? From the freshman year, kind of looks like, you know, just trying to figure out where his dorm room is. And I'm not going to lie, as a father of a daughter, I'd be a little worried if that dude showed up at my door.
Not with the guy with the good fade there.
He's got the chain going. Like, hey, you got a little too much swag, buddy. Get up.
All right, first down play, gain 4, but they're going to lose a bunch of it on the second down.
That's the senior gold chain. You get that when you're on Scully with a little NIL these days, I guess.
I'm telling you.
And he's hopeful. He does a radio appearance with John Canzano here in Oregon every week, and he's talked about, he's talking with some people about representing him for the chance to play in the NFL. He's hoping that will happen for him in the spring. Long third now, Jabari Johnson. And boy, he threw a dart there, and it's a first down. Taz Reddix. And that's the kind of throw that gives you some faith. This is a pocket throw.
Well, this is because he has great protection, and they do get no pressure on him. Allows him to go all the way out to the outside in his third read in that progression, coming back in and puts it right on Taz Reddix, who picks up the first down.
9-yard gain. And so Oregon State now, as you see Johnson. Now last week he barely threw for 30 yards before leaving in the second half with an injury. Let's see, that's all bottled up inside. So the last couple of runs, Sam Houston has at least plugged the middle on Hankerson. C.J. Johnson leading that defensive push. That's 19 carries for Hankerson in the first half.
You know, there's one of those opportunities where Jabari Johnson had a chance to pull that. And I asked Rob Akey about that, whether these quarterbacks for this Oregon State team has had the luxury of reading the play out, and he kind of gave us a wink and a nod there.
Yep. Walker on the catch, and Walker's going to get sideline. Boy, tightrope. Let's see where he's marked out. Going to be just short of the line to gain. That'll get us to the 2-minute timeout. Well, they're giving it first down. So first down, Oregon State. It'll give the Beavers a chance to run out the half and try to score before
That's the 2-minute timeout.
So 17-0 for Sam Houston. Stay tuned for the final 2 minutes of the half, presented by the Wells Fargo Active Cash Credit Card. In the final 2 minutes of the half, it's time for the 2-minute drill presented by the Active Cash Credit Card from Wells Fargo. Be a 2%er. Earn unlimited 2% cash rewards on purchases. Terms apply.
All right, here's that zone read. He's reading this guy, and I don't know if it's because he's too far back to read him, but you have a one-on-one opportunity here for Jabari Johnson to get out on the perimeter. Let it go, guys. And away he would have been. Shifts inside right there to make the tackle, and Jabari Johnson, who hasn't carried it much, would have been free to run the entirety of the way to the end zone.
Boy, good view of that, wasn't it? All right, first down for the Beavers. 2 minutes in the half. And Johnson trying to hit Walker on the run, and there comes the flag in at the end of the play. Walker tangled with Tyler Bailey.
Pass interference, defense, number 13. Penalty enforced at the spot of the foul. Automatic first down.
Just grabbing him around the waist and holding on to that jersey. We can blatantly see it here. The official, the back judge, is the one who throws the flag all the way from the back end when he saw that tug.
Well, the Beavers have a chance here to do something they haven't done terribly well this year. That's finish halves. Johnson throws a quick one. Free off, crossing midfield. And remember that Sam Houston will get the ball first in the third quarter, but the last time we were here, the Beavers fell apart the last 2 minutes of the first half against Lafayette. They were actually trailing when they left the field. Throw into the middle of the field, and there's Bryce Caulfield, a longtime Beaver that was one of the honorees before the game.
Just great job up front by this Oregon State offensive line. Allows Jabari Johnson to come all the way back to Bryce Caulfield and hit him in the zone.
And there's a pick, and this one may go the distance. Let's see. A good pursuit, forcing the cutback by Wilson, Drayvon Wilson, who has a forced fumble now and an interception.
This just has too much heat on the ball. And Caulfield coughs it up. Thing is here, Wilson, if he just stays to the outside, there's no reason for him, though great job by Tyler Moreno to kind of get out there, the big offensive line. But if Wilson stays to the outside, I don't think there's anybody that catches him. He walks himself into the end zone.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
All right, Nigel.
Hey, Ryan Beal, you know, I know the kid is number 20, but he ain't Barry Sanders now, all right? If he had great vision, all right, he would be playing running back. He plays defensive back for a reason, all right? Man made an interception. Leave him alone. He's got the money back.
I was going to say, there is a case of a picture speaking thousands of dollars right there. And Metoyer taking a shot, and that's going to be caught, and that's a touchdown. Whoa, what a catch. Chris Reed with a spectacular catch and ruled that he got a foot down.
I mean, you just made the point around finishing halves, and this couldn't have gone worse for the Oregon State Beavers. Just a straight go post route. Safety stops with a crossover, and it's a perfectly thrown ball. Looks like he gets his right foot in and taps it as he goes to the ground. Should it be an easy review if there is anything for a touchdown? What a play by Metoyer.
And I mean, the official is right there with a perfect view, so it all, and we're going. He is in. That is a touchdown. What a strike from Metoyer to Chris Reed. Pavon out to add the point. And this is going to put a little different spin now because there's still 1:14 and 3 timeouts for Oregon State to try and score before halftime.
Just a great post route, and the thing about it is he throws it down the field. Allows Chris Reed, even getting pulled down by Jaleel Tucker, to still grab it. He still gets it with both hands.
Wow.
Both feet get in.
Yep.
That's good on Sundays, Spiegel.
That is.
Yeah.
That's just terrific. Well, this is kind of what happened a few weeks back when we were here against Lafayette. It was a turnover in the final minutes of the half, and Lafayette actually scored 10 points in the final 2 minutes of the first half. Oregon State came back to win the game, so it gets forgotten. Phil Longo and his Sam Houston team with their first signs of life.
You look at what happened at the end of the first quarter where they got the turnover and weren't able to execute it for any points.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a difference. They throw a touchdown and it gets called back because of the penalty. This game's 17-14 right now.
Third touchdown pass of the year from Metoyer and third reception for Chris Reed.
I mean, you got to feel pretty good about what the future holds if Metoyer's your quarterback. That throw is one of the better ones I've seen from a quarterback throwing from the pocket like that. Was a great job, an explosive play.
Coming out with the ball, Washington, and he'll be stopped shy of the 20-yard line. They'll start the season off right, get game day ready. Scan the QR code to shop team swag and game day essentials from the CW Football Saturday shop. It's all brought to you by Dick's. Every season starts at Dick's. right. Beaver students all joined in what's becoming one of the anthems in sports in America, Don't Stop Believing, during the break. And right now, that's what they're going to tell that offense. Go. You have minute 14, or minute 8 rather, and all 3 timeouts. So opportunity to position to score before halftime.
Do you think any of these kids know that who sings it,
I have
though?
no idea.
Yeah, I
They
don't
don't
think.
care.
They just, it is what it is.
Sweet Caroline,
They don't know that's Neil Diamond.
Piano Man. They know
don't know that.
Seven Nation Army. That's the one they do know.
Okay.
They'll know that.
That's the White Stripes, though,
Yes.
right? Yeah.
Quick throw, and that's David Wells wrapped up. Iman Allen on the Sam Houston cover.
Timeout. Sam Houston State, their second of the half. 30 seconds.
So, how about that? Did you see he just called the timeout? How about that? Sam Houston called it.
All right, I'm going to go back to that touchdown, and what this is it's a cover 4 look, and they're trying to really manufacture something with this safety, okay? He's going to jump the inside route, which allows this player to get over the top. Now, if this defender gets deep, he looks for the overpass. Instead, he bites on it and throws the post.
And there it is, just one-on-one.
Yep.
And, Ryan, you make a great point there, because you saw that wide shot again. What did Phil Longo talk to us about? A staple of, we heard from Mike Leach a million times, sideline to sideline with receivers, right?
Yeah, when
forced to defend the entire width of the field.
Be multiple, use formations to dictate, but he says talent's going to dictate what our formations are simply because they are not very deep.
Quick throw to the sideline, to the 25 and out, well, not out of bounds, clock running. This is where something that we watch with Jabari Johnson is, can the Beavers get some of the throws, as Danny Langsdorf's calling the plays? Can you get vertical with this? Can you go down the field a little bit? The last minute of a game, it's hard to get very far doing that. Zach Card with a catch. Let's see where that mark is if it's a first down. Timeout, Oregon State.
Timeout. Oregon State, their first of the half. 30 seconds.
All 3 of those plays, wonderfully thrown footballs, but wonderfully defensed in terms of getting guys to the ground. Was really good by Allen on 2 of those. And, this Sam Houston team is playing with a little bit of confidence right now. The interception, 2 turnovers now in the first half. You look at a situation where Oregon State has to throw the ball, but realistically, they could be explosive in the running game. I mean, that's not something that I would veer too far away from. They have 2 timeouts. It wouldn't hurt them, I think, if Hankerson didn't get a carry here on first down.
Amen. Well, I said the sideways throws are nice and irregular, but not in the last minute when you're trying to move the ball.
You want to get that first down, and they did.
Yeah. Caulfield motions into the slot. Quick out there, and that's going to be well done. That'll get to the sidelines for David Wells.
I couldn't tell if C.J. Brown was coming over to replace a corner cat there. Nigel, did you see? Did they bring the corner off the edge there?
Oh, Ryan, unfortunately, Ryan, I didn't see. But what's interesting to me is we talked about the Penn State-Indiana game. Is defense is not understanding. All these throws are going to happen on the sideline or deep over the middle. You win if you get checkdowns.
And Johnson got away and then throws one that's caught. Wow, how about that? First of all, what timing by Sam Houston. They're not called for being offside. Johnson with this escape.
He makes Chauncey Cheedy miss, and then he throws to the only place that his wide receiver could catch the ball. I mean, he jumps outside, hangs, uses that left foot to hang.
Catch is under review.
That is like the catch this afternoon for Indiana. I mean, it really looks like he's going out of bounds, and he drags that left foot before his right foot actually touches out of bounds, uses both those hands to grip it. Solid catch. Great job.
David Wells with a spectacular catch, and I'm not sure what the view is here. Are they possibly looking at which foot touches first?
Or did he step out before the catch is something they may be looking at as well.
No, that's not the... Oh, yeah.
I don't think he did. It looks like his toe stayed up, but I'm sure that's what they may be looking at right now.
Right there, I see what you're saying. Yeah, if that's out of bounds, then it's no catch.
I think he stays on his tiptoe, actually, and the heel is raised above the white.
All right, Michael, help us here.
Ted, it looks like the receiver jumps with his left or right toe up in the air. And then when he comes back, he catches the ball in the air, but then he gets his toe down in bounds. I think it's real tight, but I think the ruling on the field of a catch will be upheld.
Yeah.
I think that's a good look of it in terms of his foot being raised, his heel being raised, and it's just his toe. I don't know how you have the feel for that when you're on the sideline, but these wide receivers, they practice it all the time, the toe drag, all of it, to know and have the awareness of where they are on the field.
The ruling on the field is upheld as a catch.
All right, there's the John Love announcement. So 25 seconds.
Yeah, there was nothing here that you could probably say is overwhelming enough to show you that he was out of bounds before he caught the ball.
So the ball is at the Oregon State 46. And you can all guess here, 15 to 20 yards is what you safely would assume the Beavers need, and they can use the field. They have 2 timeouts. Sam Houston only rushing 3, and Johnson can't get away. Boy, that's the second time he's been caught. Chauncey Cheedy with the sack, and that forces the Beavers to use a timeout.
Cheedy was
timeout.
The edge rusher that almost got to him last time. He just stays with great effort and clips the back of that angle and get the quarterback to the ground.
It's a frustration when it's only a 3-man rush and Sam Houston wins the play. It's not a sack as there's a gain on the play of actually 1 yard.
Well, I think sometimes, we saw it with Matoyer on the previous drive. Quarterbacks just panic. They just do. They feel like they can, that clock in their head, there's some pressure that's moved them a little differently in the pocket, but he didn't necessarily have to take off there. It allowed Cheedy to come all the way back underneath to ultimately get to him and make the tackle.
And it's significant. It chewed up 7 seconds and it forced a Beaver timeout. So 1 timeout remaining, 18 seconds. Probably need about 18 yards. Johnson gonna bounce, gonna keep going, and now he's got a shot. Johnson has to get out of bounds, and he does. And there is the Jabari Johnson escapability, and that will give Oregon State a chance to kick a field goal.
Not only escapability, but his toughness. I mean, he takes a shot here from Frazier and is able to spin and then ultimately get to the sideline. I thought he might hot dog it a little bit there because there was time running out, but a 21-yard pickup now puts him firmly in field goal range. Frazier just eyes him up and just takes him on, but doesn't wrap up. That allows Jabari Johnson to pick up a first down. And
the play clock's going to run out on him here. Oregon State's going to have to take a timeout. Oh, they snapped it just in time. And now Walker's got to get out of bounds, does he?
No, it's 0.
Whoa, just go down. They had a timeout. Walker does not make, that was not a good play by Walker. They had a timeout. He could just go down. That whole thing was messed up by Oregon State. You saw Johnson motioning to his helmet. His communication went off, but that's because the play clock was running down. And now Walker, does he get out of bounds?
I think they're going to be able to review it, and it looks like his foot hits the white out of bounds when there's still 1 second on the clock. If they're looking at it that closely, I mean, it might not even be 1 second, it might be half a second, but it's represented by 1 still on the clock if they're reviewing it.
That's unfortunate. It's, again, we get spoiled by seeing the professionals on Sundays do it, how unbelievably great they are at time management, clock management. There, Trent Walker could have just gone down.
This play is under review to check the clock when the ball was dead.
That the Beavers had a timeout, but that whole play, the administration of that from the very beginning was not good. The Beavers snapped the ball just as the play clock hit 0.
What I don't get either is if you're going to call a play there, take a shot. Like just 1, 2, 3, throw it up on a fade. what are you expecting to pick up here? A couple extra yards to make it an easier field goal? I don't think that's the difference for Ojeda. He was bombing it from 55 in pregame.
So that view looks like the Beavers will have a chance. Here's the decision.
After review, the runner was out of bounds with 1 second on the clock. Timer, please put 1 second on the clock.
So they will have a chance to kick. And Walker's, he's relieved.
He is relieved there. He had a slight hiccup earlier in the game where he fumbled on a reception and was able to get out of bounds in enough time to allow for a field goal attempt before halftime.
So Caleb Ojeda from 41 is up long of 53 back in week 1 against Cal. Will Haverland to snap it. AJ Windsor to hold it.
Timeout.
The timeout taken by Sam Houston.
Third and final. 30 seconds.
Look, we've chronicled this season, and it's become a theme that others have picked up on, because the beginning of this year was just a disaster. There's no other way to say it. Kicking game for Oregon State because of the long snapper. And I had a chance to talk to Will Haverland on the field before the game tonight, and I mentioned him that, it's just been so impressive to watch the guy who was the third. He's a freshman. He was the third long snapper at the start of the year, and he was pressed into action. And the snapping pretty much has been solved. That hasn't been a problem. Protection has been.
Yeah.
But not the snapping and the holding by Windsor.
Anything that revolved around special teams in terms of efficiency was the problem. The snapping cost them a game against Fresno State, the one we called in week 2. And then after that, the protection and the efficiency of the special teams was really a big part of that.
Snap there, ball down, kick on the way, and is badly missed. Well, it's just one part of the game. It just hasn't.
That's the end of the first half.
It's something along the lines you said earlier, Ryan. It's like the Beavers haven't been able to get everything working in the kicking game at the same time.
Yeah, it's just the efficiency of what the battery, the understanding of what you do. Nigel.
Well, Coach, take me through that last couple of plays right before the field goal attempt, and kind of with the clock management and all the communication that happened on the sideline.
Well, we were working. We thought we could get it out of bounds in time. We just made it by one narrow skin right there to be able to get the kick, and then we got to get. Looked like we got to get a hand on. I think somebody got the hand on that. So, like to see some things finish a little bit better. We had a lot of good things going. I think we can bring that back. Had one blown coverage at the beginning of the game that fortunately they cheated and were downfield, so we got that one taken care of. But it would just be a little better position, I think, on the second one after as a tip ball takeaway, and those things are going to, tip balls sometimes turn into that. So there's nothing to need to freak out about, but we got to tighten ourselves up and let's go attack these dudes.
I appreciate the time, Coach. You go tighten them up.
We'll do that, Bubba. Y'all be good.
There you go with Rob Aiken. Let's see if this ball gets hit. I think that ball got deflected, didn't it?
He pulled it pretty hard, but still, it didn't look like it had a solid end-over-end kick there.
It looked like Alonzo Edwards may have been the guy that got in there and got a piece of that ball, but, well, Sam Houston won the last 2 minutes of the half, and they're going to get the ball first in the second half. Still, the Beavers have a 10-point halftime lead, 17-7. Mike Yam and company join you with the halftime show on the other side. Well, if you look at the numbers, pretty heavily tilted towards Oregon State. One big number, though, those 2 turnovers.
That's the difference. Listen, Sam Houston's turned the ball over in every game this season, yet to do it today. They get the ball to start the second half to see what they can do with it and what changes they made at halftime.
All right, Max Walker kicking off. This will be Tim Burns on the return. He does get it out to the 25, perhaps just across, and flags down on the return. Several of them.
What could they possibly be talking about?
I'm sure it's available somewhere. I find that the number of returns in football now that are involve at least one flag. These are several. Unless it's the same foul that came in at different junctures. If it's this hard, we have a problem.
2 fouls occurred on the play. Offside kicking team, number 26. Illegal block in the back. Receiving team, number 8. The foul's offset. We'll replay the kick.
Replay the kick. All right. Never fun for the kicking team. These guys have just sprinted down the field, and they've got to go back and sprint again.
What do you got about that, Nigel? A little offsetting penalties.
Yeah, you know, it's interesting. I've always wondered why college football hasn't shifted to the rules that the NFL is using, because I'm gonna be honest, as a player, I wanted nothing to do with the kickoff team. There were times, and this is a true story, I would run out of my lane in practice on purpose, look at the coach and be like, you know, if I were you, I'd probably fire me. If you haven't checked, I'm 165 pounds. Running full speed into people is not what I do. Not like that.
And Nigel, you're right, because look, if you're concerned about player safety, then this is crazy to have a re-kick, just enforce the fouls.
Exactly. And again, I want nothing to do with it. Nothing.
All right, here comes Burns again, and Burns, oh my goodness, there he goes, and that's a Sam Houston touchdown. Re-kick works for the Bearcats.
And special teams rears its ugly head once again for the Beavers.
Well, Sam Houston doesn't think that rule's too crazy. 98 yards by Tim Burns.
And Tim Burns was our impact player in this game for the things he could do. And that's just a great job blocking, getting a hat on a hat, and then using that great speed from the young man from Miami for the touchdown.
Now, this is just bizarre, and for Oregon State right now, they're going through flashbacks. This has happened to them. Sam Houston, there's a nice job on the snap and the extra point kick through by Pavon.
Just a great job blocking, gets a hat on a hat like I said, and then he just does the rest with his legs. Our impact player, Tim Burns Jr., 5'9", 155 pounds, just blows the doors off on the offsetting penalties re-kick.
Nobody came close to putting a hand on him. And wow. So here's a team that's winless. Here's a team that has been close, that has had its heart broken a couple of times with the first-year coach of Phil Longo, who's fought so valiantly to keep everybody together in a game that looked like they were on the verge of being knocked out late in the second quarter. Look where it is now.
It did. There just was a few of those things that started to happen where they got a stop and held them to a field goal attempt, and then a punt, and then the fumble. And then all of a sudden things were going differently for them, and the fact that they really had a snafu there at the end of the first half, allowing themselves not to garner any points, and then to have it immediately put on them with the touchdown return.
It's been 8 years since Sam Houston's had a kick return for a touchdown. And again, what thought was going to be a 20 or 24-point game is now a 3-point game. And here's Washington trying to answer back. Elijah Washington on the nice run back, gets Oregon State out across the 30.
Here's Sam Houston's first half, and it was really about the 2 turnovers is what stopped Oregon State. There's a situation where if he was Barry Sanders, like Nigel Burton said, he probably would have broke to the outside and got himself into the end zone. But right immediately after, they go deep on a post, and a great catch by Reed in the back of the end zone while being pulled down by Tucker. That got them to score. First time that Oregon State had allowed points in 4 quarters.
And here's what Oregon State started the game doing. And can they keep feeding Anthony Hankerson with that kind of impact? A first down run on first down.
Well, they need to be able to still do this. Just because the game came back to them in terms of a 3-point game doesn't mean you detour from what you have been doing so well all game. That was his 19th carry of the ball game. I wouldn't be surprised if we see Anthony Hankerson carry the ball 35 times tonight.
Over 100 tonight. Going to pick his way through for a big one. And Hankerson is down to the 35 of Sam Houston.
They just get back to their bread and butter, what they did in the first half, and this is just zone read, and he plants his foot in the ground when he has that big hole. The next guy available is the safety to try to bring him down. 19-yard pickup there for Anthony Hankerson.
And that run gives Anthony Hankerson 2,000 yards now in his Oregon State career, just 2 years. Johnson throws it at the last, has Caulfield, but good tackle. It's something both you and Nigel pointed that out near the end of the first half. Good tackle in space there to not let anything happen afterwards.
It's something that I felt they needed to be able to do. They've tried to run this play in the first half. They leak Hankerson out, and he kind of is on a wheel route, and then you have Caulfield coming around the side.
Timeout on the field.
Caleb Holloway did the good job of tackling Caulfield. Meanwhile, banged up player is DJ Jackson on the Sam Houston front. How about this next week? You think tailgates across America will be on CW Sports Saturday? We start with a college basketball doubleheader featuring 11th ranked Louisville and of course SMU, and then football will start with North Carolina and Wake Forest and end up with us in Pullman late night for Louisiana Tech. Good Conference USA team against Washington State. All of that next Saturday in the CW. How about Wake today beat Virginia? Jake Dickert. It's a 6th win for Wake in his first year. And Virginia starting the week as the highest ranked ACC team in the playoff rankings. All right, so now after the injury timeout, back to work. Hankerson got a breather and gets run down from behind. Dean Ford on the play for Sam Houston.
Yeah, Dean Ford was banged up there in the first half, and he looked so fast there chasing down Anthony Hankerson from the opposite side and pulling him down. And this Sam Houston Bearcats team, you wouldn't look at them right now and think they hadn't won a game. They're playing extremely hard for their head football coach, Phil Longo.
Now the end of first half and then kick return to start the second. A huge jolt of adrenaline. And now the defense is hoping they can stop on this short third. Johnson going to flush to his left. Going to hold it, and then just dump it out. And now the decision for Rob Akey, given the uncertainty of field goals, which way is he going to go here on 4th down? And they really need 4. They need a full 4 yards. And it's going to be the kick. Send out the field goal team.
You know, Jabari Johnson, who only threw 1 incompletion in the first half, which was the interception, probably had a chance to hit Walker if he was just stayed in the pocket. Instead, he panics, gets outside, and has to throw it away.
Can Oregon State protect here and let Ojeda get a clean kick here? He does. Kicks on the way, but it is going to miss. So the protection was there. The kick tailed.
Timeout on
And
the
so
field.
Rob Akey's positivity being challenged here. And Sam Houston will get the ball back down 3. You're watching CW Football Saturday, presented by Olive Garden's never-ending pasta bowl, starting at $13.99 and now with spicy 3-meat sauce. And by Ace, the helpful place. Well, the highlight of last year for Sam Houston to get to a bowl game, to win the New Orleans Bowl for their 10th win in just their second season, a full season in FBS. See the game Hunter Watson had, their starting quarterback, who's not playing tonight due to injury. Mabrey Matoyer has been the quarterback. He threw a beautiful touchdown pass to Chris Reed near the end of the first half. That's been the bulk of Sam Houston's offense, that one pass and the kick return by Tim Burns.
Another great tackle by Tyree Blake. He gets out as he scrapes along and picks up the running back for only a 1-yard gain. It was wonderful pursuit in getting the player for Sam Houston on the ground.
So first down gained a yard. McCaskill motions. And Matoyer gets rid of the ball. And let's see, it is a forward pass. Is there an eligible receiver there? Yes, there is. Tyjee Hill on the pressure. O'Neal, number 6, was in the vicinity, so this will not be grounded.
Rolling on the field is an incomplete pass.
I think this is a good play call. It's just a confusing thing when your running back is looking like he's running a screen while the bubble receiver is coming back underneath. And I think Matoyer was just confused, held on to the ball long enough before he gets tackled and lets it go for an incompletion.
Well, he did a good job. At least no sack and eligible receiver there. Play clock running out on third. Gets it off. Can he get out? No, and just fires it out of bounds. So that's a nice 3-down set for the Oregon State defense. And will force a quick punt.
That's Jaleel Tucker coming on the corner cat. He's the one that comes underneath. Is the one who almost gets the sack on the big quarterback. Great job of disguising it at the line of scrimmage on the short side of the field and then getting to the quarterback and making the pressure happen.
Oh, you're right, Ryan. They used Sullivan, the linebacker, to come in first, and then Tucker comes in behind. Wouldn't it be something if Trent Walker ran a punt back to score at Reeser?
It would be great.
That would be a funny way to do it, wouldn't it? Not going to happen here. Fair catch.
All right, here we are with our Royal Caribbean game summary, and it's all about special teams once again, Ted. They just have not been able to get it together. A pulled kick right before halftime, and then the return immediately after offsetting penalties to open the second half for Burns for the big touchdown to cut it to 3 points, and then one more opportunity for the offense to get a field goal. And Ojeda just keeps one off to the right, and he misses his second one of the game. And now Oregon State on offense to try to get him some more points. That's your Royal Caribbean game summary.
And Anthony Hankerson gets the first down carry. It's amazing now, even there, that's 6 yards when basically everybody in the stadium knows he's getting the ball.
And it's something they should keep going back to, you know, when they asked Jabari Johnson, who's been very accurate, but that hasn't been the efficiency of this offense and the explosive nature of this offense. It's been in the running game since the start.
Stack of receivers to the short side. Throw comes to the wide side, and that's an incomplete pass. David Wells contacted right away by Iman Allen, and that will leave third down for the Beavers.
You know, Iman Allen's been really good tonight in terms of his coverage. He's been in position to make plays. He gets that hand in there on a easily receptive ball and knocks it away and sets up another third down.
All right, Beavers need 4 yards here. They need the 38. And there's the first down plus. Milbourne.
Gabe Milbourne's really been the most explosive receiver on this team. Now, this is just a good job by Jabari Johnson. I don't know if he's trying to pull the linebacker with his eyes by looking to his right first, but then he comes back for a 21-yard gain to Milbourne right over the middle.
Jabari Johnson now up to 171 pass yards tonight. Off play action. Comes down underneath. And that's going to be another good gain, another Oregon State, a first down gain on a first down play. This is the pass to Hankerson.
Any way you can get the big fella the ball, he does a great job of catching the ball in this offense as well. As soon as he gets it in his hands, he gets up the field. Nigel, you got a little bit more?
Yeah, you know, the part that's been really impressive is watching his maturation as a quarterback, right? I mean, Ryan, we talk about just playing quarterback and understanding, watching him make that throw from the pocket that was on the sideline, watching him now go through his reads, and when the pressure's starting to come, not always looking to run, but go to your check down and let them do the work for you. It's actually been really fun to watch him mature really right before our eyes.
Now this is clearly the opportunity that Jabari Johnson's getting. Starting, I mean, 2 games left for Oregon State, both on the road after tonight. And it's their chance to really get a good look and find out.
I think this team's responded to him. You know, after that tough loss to Wake Forest, in which you and I called, he kind of, in the post-game press conference, you know, set a mandate. He said guys weren't doing the things they needed to do. Malik Murphy, of course, was the starting quarterback. Played at Duke last year, was a big NIL transfer. He really responded incredibly well last week, though, in that win over Washington State, because Johnson went down, and he came in and really got them the win.
That was a point that Oregon State coaches made, was that, you know, Murphy, they used the word awesome a couple times in talking about how he handled that situation. By the way, the injured, second time he's come off for Sam Houston, Dean Ford, really slowly to the sideline.
You talked about Malik Murphy, and it's a difficult thing to do a lot of the time when you are the big man on campus. You are asked to take a seat, to be ready to play in that moment, to go win a game against a very good Washington State defense. That was huge.
Throw out of the backfield to Hankerson, and that's going to be another first. Down to the 20-yard line. Holloway running him out. Caleb Holloway for Sam Houston.
Eyes to the left, and then a little rollout. This was planned and executed perfectly to try to get Hankerson out on the perimeter with some leverage, and they do it. This is just like a long handoff, but instead it's pitched to him for a first down reception for 12 yards.
Now it's the entry to the red zone, and for Oregon State, it's to finish this drive in the end zone. As uneven as the kick game has been.
Preferably to number 7.
That would be the bonus. Wells on a catch there for 4 yards. By the way, Johnson, it's been something Sam Houston has had a defensive challenge in a bunch of ways. Recently, quarterbacks are completing at a high rate against him. Johnson's 22 of 25 tonight.
The previous play is under review to review the catch.
Okay. The buzz comes from upstairs. Did Wells fully control this ball?
Ball thrown to the outside. That ball moves pretty significantly when it touches the ground. What does our main man in San Ramon have to say, Michael Mothershed?
Hands underneath.
Okay.
Michael, what do you see?
You know, Ted, that ball comes in and he tries to get control of it, but it does touch the ground. I think the ground aids him in making that catch. So I think the ruling on the field will be overturned.
The ball hit the ground, pass is incomplete. Second down.
And Michael, so I think your last point, isn't that the key, is that the ground helped him catch the ball?
Right. That's what I saw.
Right. Yeah. It's not automatic if the ball touches the ground, but if the ground aids the catch, is that the delineation?
That's correct.
Right.
And in this case, it did.
And I just think it moves too much. You know, you can go to the ground. The ground can be part of the catch if that ball doesn't move.
Right.
And it just moved a little too much once it hit the ground there, going to his right.
All right. So back to the 20-yard line, 2nd and 10. Hankerson, another nice bounce. And there, look at that last effort to tack on an extra 2, take it to the 13.
One of the biggest question marks for Jabari Johnson was his ability to throw the football. What that was going to look like. His legs were more part of what people looked at, but already tonight he has all career highs in completions, attempts, and now yardage already, and we're only halfway through the third quarter.
And now 3rd down, 3 for the first down. Hankerson going to try to run for it, and he's not going to get there. And there comes a flag at the end of the play, rather. Hankerson was stopped at the 11. He's a yard short. DJ Jackson, key man on the hit for Sam Houston. Let's see what the flag looks like. It's against Oregon State. Their Beavers are walking back.
Holding offense, number 79, 10-yard penalty, 3rd down.
That hurts. It's going to back him up into a long 3rd.
That's Tyler Fulton playing right guard.
And he's been playing in this patched up Oregon State offensive line. He's the epitome of patched up. He has really been banged up and playing as a wounded warrior. So now back to the 23. It is 3rd and 13. Quick throw to Wells, going to get some yardage. And now this is the decision for Rob Akey. It's an obvious dilemma. You need 5.5. The ball's just shy of the 15. The first down is the 10.
It hasn't.
And there's no movement by the kick team.
And it hasn't helped attempting those 2 field goals with misses over the last 2 opportunities. So, you know, at this point.
So the Beavers will go for it. Again, they need to hit the 10-yard line. Empty the backfield. Hankerson comes out to the bottom. Walker to the top. Freehoff is the slot. And Johnson to the end zone. No shot there. The Beavers will turn the ball over on downs, and a big Sam Houston defensive hold. A no chance throw there, really intended for Gabe Milborn against the coverage of Iman Allen. Oh, if we could just kick a field goal. Another one of the 18 Beavers who walked before the game tonight. The wonderful story of Dylan Black, who missed all last season while fighting cancer. The moment where he was declared cancer-free, ringing the bell. There he is hugging Rob Akey. Dylan Black came back this year and got hurt in the first game of the season on this field against Cal. Has not played. He's been here 6 years. Guess what? He could apply to play next year. He's only played 3 seasons. And in today's world, there seems to be no limit on eligibility. Don't know if he has an interest in doing that, but it's still been a wonderful story at Oregon State. Now the throw is caught. Matoyer with the pass to Dylan Burke. And Sam Houston gets it out to the 31. You know, something we talked a little bit about yesterday, the coaches, Ryan, is that the Oregon State defense has not done a great job of taking the ball away this year. As a result, their offense hasn't had a lot of short fields. That would be something that would help here. So this is Landon Locke in on this series, taking the deep shot. And it is incomplete. Boy, that was a close call. Chris Reed almost pulled that in from freshman quarterback Landon Locke out of Rockwall, Texas.
Trey Glasper is there, and Reed kind of turns his body and doesn't get both hands on the football. It was a well-thrown, well-placed ball by Landon Locke, freshman out of Rockwell, Texas.
This is a guy, Phil Longo, the head coach, was recruiting him to come play at Wisconsin. And Longo, when he took this job at Sam Houston, brought 2 quarterbacks with him, the 2 that have played tonight. inside. That run will get almost 4 with Coco Brown. Mabry Matoyer. Again, the quarterback for Sam Houston this year, as he was last year, Hunter Watson, who's a dual threat, very good, strong runner, but hurt last week in their game with Louisiana Tech. He is here tonight, but not dressing for the game.
Where they put up 500 yards, only 116 so far in total yardage tonight.
Third down, Locke hits the man, and that is going to be a first down. Just past the line to gain is Malik Phillips.
Interesting, he came back across the body there. He's got the corner route to Burns wide open, decides to come back and doesn't make a great throw, but a wonderful job by Malik Phillips to go down and get it. Surprised that Oregon State maybe not interested in reviewing this one. It looked like it could have been short.
I think that's what you just hear, what you just said, Ryan. Another shot for Burns down the field, and he juggles and doesn't hold it. Ooh, Mason White ends up being the cover man at the very end. How about this? Bringing the freshman in clearly to say, we're launching.
Well, I mean, they did it with Matoyer as well for the touchdown. This is a good throw. He leads him into it, and the ball is perfectly put in his chest, and Burns could have made another huge play. Real chance Mason White could have been called for some sort of interference there.
I was looking at the same thing. So second down. That's a good catch. Gets about half the yardage you need. O'Neal, Grady O'Neal on that catch.
Not only is it a great catch, because it wasn't a very accurate throw, but what he does when he spins to get away from the defender, that ball could have been thrown in a situation where he only picked up a yard or two. Instead, he picks up almost 6 to make it a much more manageable third down here for the young freshman quarterback.
And the 5 receiver set now, although it's not spread. And Locke hits the middle of the field, and that's just past the line to gain. So a first down catch by Reed. And I saw the shift there. Coco Brown, the running back, came back in, and he picked up the rush up the middle by Oregon State. And you just get I'm sure as a player you felt the same thing. You get a vibe. And right now you feel like Sam Houston is, they were in a corner, they were about to get punched out. Now they fought their way back in the middle of the ring, and they're holding their own.
And they're doing it in all 3 phases, which is just something that Oregon State hasn't been able to do.
Coco Brown, this one, he breaks the tackle behind the line. Boy, that's big. Shamar Meikle had him for a TFL, and instead Brown gets close to 10.
And he does a hurdle over the defender. First off, tackle in the backfield would have been done by Meikle. Instead, he goes over the top of Jaleel Tucker with the hurdle and picks up 5 more yards and almost gets the first down.
So what could have been a minus play ends up being 9 yards. And Sam Houston is at the Oregon State 37 in the final 2 minutes of the third quarter. Lock and play action, drifting, and misses O'Neal. Now Locke has played a little bit this year for Sam Houston. He had thrown 19 passes coming in. Right away you get an idea of the live arm.
That's the one thing in warm-ups between both of these quarterbacks, to your point. They had live arms. They're big kids, 6'4" and 6'5" between them. Clearly have the ability to get the ball down the field to their playmakers.
This is the longest Sam Houston drive so far tonight. And McCaskill is going to lunge and get the first down. He was in the grasp of Ty G. Hill, but McCaskill, strong guy. 6'2", 210, able there to get the first.
Only needed a yard. That's why they went for a deeper shot there on second down when they had a 2nd and 1. And now the Sam Houston team feeling themselves a little bit confident and putting together a real drive. Down only 3, a chance to take the lead in a game that no one gave them a chance in.
Coco Brown behind Landon Locke. Brown's got the outside and another hurdle and then gets punished in midair. Tyree Blake and Jaheim Patterson. Brown picks himself up and a good first down run.
It's a great run. He likes to go and try to hurdle guys. He leaps over Jaheim Patterson and then Blake and Aiden Sullivan clean that up.
Man, I'll have Sullivan. How about that launch?
Yeah.
Whew. But it's a 6-yard gain. And Sam Houston's inside the 30. Final play of the third quarter coming here. And it is broken up. Quite the last play. Broken up nicely by Vindrawala. Silasa Vindrawala on the pass intended for Grady O'Neal.
This is a good throw. You get the slot receiver that runs the fade, and Vindrawala in phase, right at the right moment, turns his head, uses that right arm and his head to knock the ball away. They've had really good throws down the field here by Landon Locke that were all disrupted by Oregon State defenders.
Man, you talk about, I know this is a quick judgment, but this kid looks pretty good, doesn't he?
He does.
Third down. We need the 25-yard line and won't get it. Locke's pass incomplete, and now on a tipped ball, decision time for Phil Longo. He'll have the quarter break to think about it. That was Jalen Hill on the rush for Oregon State that at the pass deflection. How about this? A ball game going to the 4th in Corvallis. You're watching CW Football Saturday, presented by Olive Garden's never-ending pasta bowl, starting at $13.99 and now with spicy 3-meat sauce. And by Allstate, you're in good hands. And we're enjoying you being with us on Sunday morning for some of you, Saturday night late for others. In Corvallis, the students are still here. They want to be happy Beavers leaving tonight. But Sam Houston's pushing. A program looking for its first win of the year and trying to tie the game here on the first play of the fourth quarter. 47 yards for Christian Pavon. And that kick is way off. So this game has every feeling that whatever happens in this fourth quarter, touchdowns are going to decide it.
Well, it better not come down to a kicker because neither have had a very good feel of the game. This one's just pushed to the right from the start, never had a chance. He booted it high enough, long enough, just not the right direction. This Bearcats team, their best quarter of the year has been the third quarter, but they have been outscored 102-27 in the fourth quarter. That would have been a great opportunity to get off to the right start for the fourth quarter. Instead, still down 3, gives the ball back to the Beavers.
I understand Phil Longo's decision. If you make that field goal, you really think you put the squeeze on the home team. Instead, Johnson comes back on the roll and hits Wells for a big gain. And it's out close to midfield for Oregon State. What is it about Johnson? It always looks like he throws better on the move.
Well, he's accurate, and this is a great throw because the defender jumps the route and gets to the spot before Wells does, but the throw is so good to the outside shoulder, it allows him to spin away and pick up some yardage after the catch.
To the 46 of Oregon State. Hankerson again. And that time the bounce not there. Sam Houston strings that out to the short side of the field. And something, it's an easy point to bring up, but I think it comes into play very much here, is after this kind of night. Now in the fourth quarter, when you need Hankerson, what's in the tank? This is 25 carries so far.
Well, I think he said, you know, he can do more. And my number, my over-under for him was 35 carries tonight.
There's 26, trying to bounce it again, but boy, there's big Dylan Frazier active on that front. He did not let Hankerson turn.
You know, Dylan Frazier was the guy at the nickel, or sorry, at the nose tackle who was coming back, the 6'4", 265-pounder. He's just been so good.
That's his 10th tackle tonight.
And this was our impact player. This is what the coaches said. They were looking forward to him coming back, and how well he'd been preparing for this opportunity, and he's played well tonight.
So the Beavers need 6 on third down. Extra rush coming, caught, and Hankerson's going to be marked short. Let's see, oh wow, he's 3 yards short. So Hankerson made the catch, but defended to the boundary there by Holloway of Sam Houston, and it's a full 3 yards short.
It's a similar play they ran to. I don't know what the...
Well, that might be something you spot. You might want to look at that.
Yeah.
That definitely... Rob Akey has a challenge flag he can use. I mean, that spot's not right.
I mean, I don't know if it changes anything. It takes you to about 2 yards versus 3, but he's not happy with the call.
Well, the spot's missed, bluntly. That's the only way to say it. That was pretty clear. Again, you do have one coach challenge. Instead, it will be a punt on fourth down.
Play game, offense, 5-yard penalty, fourth down.
Well, that takes that out of consideration.
And I would say spotting the football in live play like that, it's got to be about as tough a thing as you ask officials to do in any sport.
Especially
so that's why I have no problem. But use the challenge.
A sideline official who's coming down, you know, it looked like she saw exactly where he landed out of bounds with his foot, but that's not where she spotted the ball.
Ooh, Windsor hits that off the side of his foot. It will not be too bad. It gets inside the 20. But here comes Sam Houston again with another possession where they'll have a chance to tie or lead. On this field last week, man, emotions were high, weren't they, Brian, in this what's become a good rivalry game?
Yeah, and then it really came down to what this defense was able to do and stop normally a very high-powered Washington State offense, but instead Jaheim Patterson intercepts him twice, and then they're able to pull down Zevi Eckhouse right before an opportunity to send them back a little bit further right, and the kick stays just right, and Rob Akey and this Oregon State Beaver team get away with the victory versus their Pac-12 Patriot.
Now back comes Sam Houston on first down. Play action throw. Landon Locke's second series. And he finds Tim Burns for a first down gain. So you go from all the emotions that were here last week to tonight where we're in the late night. It was a beautiful fall day here. The temperature's 49 degrees right now and dry, so you can't ask for better. But it's Sam Houston that has the mojo right now, trying to get that first win.
Neither of these teams know how to win. Neither of these teams know how to finish. And you let someone like Sam Houston hang around and start to believe, all of a sudden they're in a different situation, and now they have an opportunity to do the complete unexpected. There isn't anybody on the planet, I think, that thought Sam Houston was going to come up here having not won a game all year after what Oregon State had done the last couple weeks they played and performed the way they did. But when you score on special teams, you can have 159 yards through 3 quarters and still be in the game.
Well, here you go. The chainsaw revving up again in Oregon State. Can the defense take the ball away? Sam Houston has not turned it over tonight. 3rd and 3 for Landon Locke. Pressure up the middle, Alfieri. Locke sidesteps and then throws one out. Just launched it toward the Oregon State sideline. But how about that? Andy Alfieri, a measure of 88 playing and getting in.
Yeah, he makes a move, but
There is no foul. The forward pass was legal. The quarterback was outside the pocket.
and come on, Locke, you got to stay in there, take that hit, maybe a roughing the passer, but you probably should have ran the ball. All you had to do was pick up 3 yards, and instead he tries to throw it down the field, and they turn it over and make the Bearcats have to punt it away to Oregon State.
So Trent Walker. Now, hang on a second. We have a stoppage.
An object came out onto the field. 4th down.
Okay, that's what it was. Something out on the field on the back, way at the other end of the field, was what stopped play. So Trent Walker is the return man for Oregon State.
That's a bomb.
And again, the end over end kick forcing a fair catch. Walker takes it. So Oregon State will start just shy of their own 30-yard line on this beautiful November night in the Willamette Valley. Along with Ryan Leaf and Nigel Burton, Ted Robinson, we're in Corvallis on this late Saturday night. Rob Akey, Oregon State feeling pretty comfortable when it was 17-0 in the second quarter. A lot less comfortable in the fourth quarter.
Well, you know, some of the things that have cooled this team off during the year, reared its ugly head, and special teams efficiency, missing a field goal late in the first half, a kickoff return for a touchdown, and then 2 turnovers ultimately has put them in this position. First down for the Beavers.
And Hankerson gets the middle. And it is one of those puzzling nights in football, because if you just looked at a screen, you say Johnson's 24 of 29 passing, by far his best passing game. Hankerson's run for 142 yards, and we only have 17 points.
Yeah, they haven't been able to punch them in when they've had the opportunity. That first drive for the touchdown was their biggest drive of the game, followed up by a field goal, and that's when the mistakes started to happen, and they turned it over, had to punt. All of those things combined to bring us to where we're at right now.
Oh, wow, that is an utter gift. That was a pick six every day of the week, and it ends up being a completed pass.
Completed pass for a first down even.
Wow.
I mean, they've done a good job on the defensive end of jumping some of these routes, and it just flies through the hands.
Tyler Bailey saw the end zone. I mean, he had it.
What a great read and jump for that football.
And so the Beavers get life here on a first down. Short gain, looks like 2 yards for Hankerson.
It's kind of been like this a lot of the times during the year. I mean, we looked at that Fresno State game that you and I called in week 2 in that loss, and they just churned yardage and just were not able to get into the end zone when they needed to. And we're up to 390 yards of total offense for the Beavs so far, and they just have only 17 points so far to show for it.
2 missed field goals for each team. Again, only 3 rush and another ball. Wow. Sam Houston only had 3 rush. Caleb Holloway there.
The defense for the Bearcats doing a wonderful job reading. He's the flat defender, but he starts to go that way. The eyes of Johnson comes back to the inside stick route, and Holloway just uses that big mid of his to slide back and knock it away.
This would be some escape if Oregon State could convert this third. And the pocket. Johnson throws it. Nope. Too well covered there was Trent Walker. Covered by Cecil Powell. And so we're getting into a little bit of a look of last week's game on this field, a punt duel. If you're on the Sam Houston side right now, they have allowed an average of 41 points a game this season. They've traveled all the way out here to Oregon, and the home team only has 17 on it. If you're on the Sam Houston side, you're thinking, this has to be our night. Whoa, they block it. There they go, the block, the scoop, and this is going to be a score, and Sam Houston will have the lead. Once again, a special teams disaster for Oregon State. And for Sam Houston, the fourth quarter lead on the pickup by Brody Henderson.
What an effort on the punt block. Getting over the top, and he just extends his right hand. I want to make sure I get that number right who was in there on the block. I think it was Tokyo Gordon.
There were several guys just on top. The punt barely got off Wintzer's foot.
And just stuck his right arm out, blocks it, scoop and score like Ted said, and this place is
unbelievable,
shaking.
And the whistle stops play before the extra point. The play clock ran out.
Delay game, offense. The try will be at the 8.
Well, there's still 8.5 minutes remaining in this game, but this, in so many ways, is shaping up to be a season that they could be a film made to instruct future generations of football teams the importance of special teams and how it is just so derailed much of this Oregon State football season.
Well, especially if you're not going to get first downs and you're forced to punt so many times. Like, you just every other opportunity for a mishap to happen when your special teams efficiency is so poor.
So 20, almost a 26-yard kick here for Pavon, but he drills it. So Sam Houston leads by 4. That's right, Sam Houston leads by 4.
Punt block, Tokyo Gordon picked up, and he rumbles. Rumble, big fella rumble, as they take the lead for the first time here in Corvallis. All right, let's take a look at the Progressive Player of the Game. Today's Player of the Game is sponsored by Progressive. Get coverage you can count on with home and auto. Mr. Timmy Burns Jr. with the kickoff return to start the second half. It really catapulted this team to put in their position. They have 2 special teams touchdowns in this game with only 159 yards of total offense. They lead over the Oregon State Beavers 21-17. That is your Progressive Player of the Game, Tim Burns Jr.
Well, Oregon State now understands fully what they face. They'll take the touchback here. And again, let's just state this as fact. Sam Houston, coming into this game, has allowed an average of 40.9 points a game. Oregon State has not scored in this game since 6:53 in the second quarter. And UMass already played and lost their game this week, so Sam Houston is trying to get out of this partnership.
And they have never started a season 0-9. So this is our opportunity to break that away on the road.
Johnson on the move. Johnson setting up and finding Wells. Running a nice route out toward the Oregon State side, and that's a gain all the way to the 47 of Sam Houston, 28 yards.
Incredibly long developing play, need the protection, moves the pocket just a little bit to the right, and then the great touch by Jabari Johnson to David Wells, who ran the entirety of the field to the opposite side to make that catch.
256 pass yards tonight for Oregon State. Hankerson to the middle. And Hankerson gets a couple. The yards are getting tougher for Hankerson in the second half. 3 there.
Well, I mean, that's the way if I was defensive coordinator in this situation, Freddie Autry-Lindsey, I would have been stacking the box, making Jabari Johnson throw the ball, and it's essentially what he's done in the second half. And Johnson's been accurate. You know, his completion percentage is high. They just haven't been able to pick up those third downs when they've needed them here in the second half.
And you saw the defensive coordinator for Sam Houston. Well, that's actually a good miss. That play was going to be a minus, and Hankerson had the ball go through his hands.
Time that ball, there you go. There's Freddie Autry-Lindsey. Got a good chance to talk to him this week. Saw him before the game. He understands what he's got. You know, is not very deep. He was very pleased with the idea that some of those interior linemen were coming back. One in particular, Dylan Frazier, Tokyo Gordon, that stand-up edge rusher. He made a huge play on the punt block, and now they have an opportunity to get off the field once again.
They would assume this is 4-down territory for Oregon State. And only 3 rush. And that is a great catch by Wells. David Wells made the adjustment, and a tremendous play to get Oregon State inside the 20.
That's just good on good. Drayvon Wilson is step for step with David Wells. The ball is perfectly thrown, and the offensive player just goes up, uses those strong hands, and makes the catch for a huge first down.
28 and 27-yard passes now to Wells on this Oregon State possession. And what as Hankerson's bottled up, what you see Sam Houston doing is clearly spying. They don't want Johnson getting out.
Could have been a little contact there by Wells with his hand on his back. But like I said, good on good. Great defense. He almost gets his hand in the way, but Wells goes up with those strong hands, catches them with his hands and doesn't let it get to his body. Makes a huge catch on this drive.
That was the 30th carry for Hankerson, and it was no gain, so it's 2nd and 10. Fake to Card, swing pass Caulfield, but that's Sam Houston there, and Caulfield does a job to get back to the line of scrimmage. Dylan Frazier out there, and we're at a point where it probably shouldn't need to be said, but field goals don't really matter to Oregon State right now.
Well, it doesn't certainly get them a tie, and so they need a touchdown. So they're in 4-down territory, and I don't know if we can say enough about Dylan Frazier.
Absolutely.
And what he's done tonight. And this is a nose tackle with all these tackles being made so far. And Coach Freddie Autry-Lindsey certainly was right about being excited about him getting his nose tackle back for this one.
So 3rd and 10. And Johnson's got the middle open. He's going to take it. And he dives forward to get the better mark. So he goes down head first, and he'll get the 10-yard line, which will leave 4th down and somewhere between 2 and 3 yards.
Only really kind of bringing 3 rushers, leaving 8 in coverage. Jabari does a good job of stepping up in the pocket, looking for a chance. He does get this team a better opportunity on 4th down, but realistically, you know, the way Sam Houston's been able to kind of grind here in the second half offensively, this could be the play of the game right here.
Trent Walker in a 3-receiver bunch, tight right. Wells, Walker, and Caulfield. 4th down. Johnson looking for Hankerson, has him out there, and Hankerson turned to run before catching it.
Such a great play design by Danny Langsdorff. He uses Hankerson all the way from the left side of the formation. He runs him all the way across to the other side of the bunch. He allows the ball to get a little too close. It hits his right shoulder pad as it tips off his fingertips and starts to look up the field for that touchdown. before he could bring it in. And I mean, that is exactly the definition of this season for the Oregon State Beavers.
Wow.
So close, yet so far.
30 carries and 4 receptions, and Hankerson, who has carried so much of the load, but he's going to feel sick about that. And now it is, can Oregon State get a 3 and out and save their timeouts? That's what they're talking. Clearly, that's what they're going over with Rob Akey right now. When you see somebody with the screen and the iPad, that's the analytics.
Yeah,
when to use the timeouts.
When to use the timeouts, knowing you're down 4 and not 3, knowing you need a touchdown to win this game.
Landon Locke continuing on here in the second half as the Sam Houston quarterback, freshman, flushed. And have to get rid of it. And it's batted down right at the goal line, smothered by Tyree Blake.
Tyree's had a heck of a game. Getting that opportunity with Cordshaw out with his collarbone. He's been fast. He hasn't been overthinking things. He's really seen whatever his keys have been, and he just goes, almost gets there in time to knock the ball away for a fumble.
Well, that could be big because it also saves time. 3rd and 12. And Blake's going to get rid of it from the goal line. Again, that will not be grounding. There's a receiver close. O'Neal was close. So that is not grounding. If it was, it would have been a safety.
Does he throw this with his left hand?
Let's see. That's a good call. Yes, he does. Good call.
Impressive little Patrick Mahomes.
Wow.
This is so good by him to get this ball away and get a receiver near the area to make sure it isn't grounding. And
that's what the Oregon State side wanted. Of course, it would have been a safety because he was in the end zone, but O'Neal was close enough. Now Trent Walker hoping for a shot here from near midfield. He'll take the fair catch, and the Beavers get everything they could ask. The defense has not taken the ball away tonight, but they've held Sam Houston to 157 yards. You get the ball back for your offense in plus side of the field with 3:24 to go.
Yeah, the biggest thing is the 3:24. They didn't use up a lot of time. In fact, they threw the ball twice with 2 incompletions, which stopped the clock. And now this Oregon State team, who's been able to move the ball up and down the field, almost 460 yards of total offense, with plenty of time left, all their timeouts, and only 48 yards to go for Pater.
Hard to believe. Hankerson, and again, the carries are plus, but the yards are a little, they've just been harder in the second half. On his 31st carry, he gets 3. Oregon State's pushing close to 500 yards of offense in this game.
And Sam Houston's defense, for being as ridiculed all year long, has found some confidence because they're playing a lot of man coverage, which allows for these many tackles.
Hankerson has a hole up the middle, and that's going to be a first down. Right at the 38 of Sam Houston.
Watch the delay here by Hankerson. He just kind of subtly delays just a second and then goes. It was almost like he was in the starters blocks, ready to go into the 100 meters at the Olympics, and he just subtly hesitates enough, finds and sees the hole, and explodes through it for a first down.
Well, he's closing in on, going to hit your target, Ryan. He's 32 carries and 4 receptions. Going to get it again. This time plugged, tried to go off the left side. Gets only a yard. That'll take the game to the 2-minute timeout. Well, this is not something.
2-minute timeout.
If you're with us in some parts of the country, it's very late at night or early in the morning. That's not a misprint. This is the score. Stay tuned for the final 2 minutes, presented by the Wells Fargo Active Cash Credit Card. 21-17, Sam Houston with the lead as we head into the final 2 minutes. And here's our snapback replay presented by the Active Cash credit card from Wells Fargo.
Well, if it's Wells Fargo, it might as well be David Wells. Huge catch there on the sideline. Then another wonderful job of staying to the outside. These were 2 huge catches on this drive. And then the patience of going all the way across the field, staying on the move, late hands over his shoulder, and this one that gets you inside the 20-yard line, fighting with Drayvon Wilson for the big pickup.
It's all brought to you by the Wells Fargo Active Cash credit card. Be it 2% or earn unlimited 2%. Terms apply. Shot. Deep shot going to go way out of bounds. Intended for Wells, who has a career best game tonight, 9 for 112.
He's been tremendous. Targeted 12 times in this matchup. Usually that's Trent Walker who's the one targeted the most. Instead, David Wells on the opposite side has been the recipient and has delivered for the Beavers tonight.
Shot now brings up 3rd and 9. Again, there's no question here. This is 4 downs for Oregon State.
Yeah, interesting decision
Yes.
there by Jabari Johnson to try to take that shot.
They've been backed into longer thirds. Again, they're spying Johnson with 2 guys over the middle. The pass is intercepted. Tyler Bailey with the interception. And Sam Houston can now start to think they may pull this off. Another high ball off the hand of a receiver. The 3rd Oregon State turnover.
Yeah, this is just a high thrown ball to Gabe Milborn, who, as a quarterback, I always say if you can't catch it, make sure you're not tipping it. And there's no way he's going to catch that ball, and instead he just tips it up into the air and allows Tyler Bailey to step underneath it. And, you know, with 3 timeouts left for Oregon State, they can stop the clock and get the ball back.
Yeah.
But, I mean, that is a sealant. That is something that Sam Houston has got to feel good about. That money bag on the sideline is really starting to fill up with some actual cash now.
Boy, that plays a great job. Oregon State made a very late switch on defense, and they weren't protected.
Timeout, Oregon State, their first of the half, 30 seconds.
Ball was snapped, and Aiden Sullivan made a terrific play.
I will say, for turnover props, you know, that probably has the least amount of overhead in terms of pricing to probably make. It looks like some glitter in a sack.
Hey, Ryan, that's nonsense. Okay, what's real is this guy right here. You've been talking about, like, to be in the position this team is in, to come across the, halfway across the country.
Completely, Ted.
Play this way?
Yeah, are you kidding me? This team hasn't won this year. Everybody talks about them as a joke. And he's still got this team, a defense that is 134th in all of college football, which is dead last in terms of points a game, total yards a game, and he has them come out here and play their tails off. They didn't. They have yet to turn it over offensively, which they've done every game this year, and they've gotten themselves 3 turnovers. Unbelievable.
Jerian Parker gets his first carry, and that is likely going to be the game clincher, although there is a flag that comes in well behind the play, and what could have been the game clincher will be called back by holding.
You've talked to me about this, and how Mike Pereira says there's no such thing as a late flag, but
Holding, offense, number 71, 10-yard penalty, second down.
I mean, that was either he couldn't get it out of his pocket when it happened, because that play was 12 yards down the field before the flag comes in.
Well,
it's a good call.
And I mean, it's crushing, because if that play stands, it's likely going to win the game. A first down with 2 timeouts for Oregon State.
Instead, the clock stops and moves them back 10 yards. And now sets them up in a position for 2nd and 20. And you can't try to throw the ball here. I don't think you can. You have to run it and make them use their timeouts and try to make a stop on defense.
Absolutely. So there's the first run play of the timeout. Sam Houston State. We mentioned they're 70 miles north of Houston.
Timeout, Oregon State, their second, 30 seconds.
They use for travel. They go out of College Station, Texas. That's right, the home of Texas A&M. As you see the Oregon State story tonight, which the special teams, ultimately, there's no other word but disaster. The Sam Houston, they're going home right from here. They're going to bus back down to Eugene. They have a charter flight ready to get them back to College Station. They get back to campus about 9 a.m. Sunday. They will fly high if they get out of here with a win.
I can't imagine what that trip will feel like for Phil Longo and his staff. This team that's been through so much this year in terms of just kind of being beat down. They've been injured. Their remaining schedule, Delaware at Middle Tennessee State, and then to finish the year against Florida International.
So 3rd down, and this is the play that, oh, look at this! A pick! Unbelievable! At Oregon State for a second flashed with a pick 6, but the pick by Vindrawala gives the Beavers life.
It's a deflected ball.
Incredible.
A defender gets in the pathway of the pass. First off, I don't know why they're throwing it here.
Amen.
But you got a situation where you have to throw away from a defender, and Vindrawala is just right where he's supposed to be. Terrible throw.
And look who's out there. The left tackle, Luke Eckhart, who was out there to block on the attempted screen, is the guy that saves the pick 6. Silasa Vindrawala with his 2nd career interception.
They have now turned it over in every game this season, which have been losses. None more important than one there where they should have been running the football.
A gift. Can the Beavers take advantage? And Johnson gets it to Hankerson, who's out of bounds. Only 3-yard gain, but does get out.
Well, the biggest thing here in terms of time and what's needed is the fact that they're down 4. Like a field goal does nothing. This is a situation where they have to score a touchdown. They have 1 timeout left, and easily every play in the playbook in front of them with the time, yardage, and timeouts.
Johnson stands in. Johnson delivers just through the hands of Zach Card on the post. Iman Allen on the cover for Sam Houston.
I'm telling you right now, they are getting no pressure on the young quarterback at all. He fires this one perfectly to Zach Card, just a little bit late, but still right on the money. Great defense by Iman Allen, who's been very good on the perimeter all game long.
Beavers have been leaving themselves in longer thirds, especially in this 4th quarter. Another one here, 3rd and 7. And Johnson with the legs. But Sam Houston has done this. They have had 1 or 2 in many plays in this 4th quarter, basically spying Johnson.
It's one thing that Jabari has to get better at, and when he starts to scramble, and in particular up inside the pocket, keeping his eyes up down the field, because when that happens, you see movement with these defenders. The safeties start to encroach, the linebackers get a little shallower, and you have open receivers down the field where you could get a big play.
Well, here's the last gasp. Oregon State making sure they take enough time here to get the play right. They need it, and they don't get it. Incomplete, intended for Walker, and Sam Houston will fly home with a win.
This is unbelievable. Cecil Powell, who's the striker position for this Sam Houston defense, in man-to-man coverage, perfectly aligned with his receiver, and jumps with that right arm and pulls him away to get Sam Houston their first win of the season.
It has been interesting. I mean, these are all things you reflect, and of course special teams has just been the determining factor in this, but a couple of deep shot passes here in the 4th quarter by Oregon State that have left them in long thirds and then eventually long fourths. And as a result, this will be the win for Sam Houston, the last win for Phil Longo as a head coach.
Oh, this is a good one.
Came November 12th, 2005. He was the head coach at LaSalle in Philadelphia. They defeated St. Peter's of New Jersey 7,302 days between wins as a head coach. And this is just
That's the end of the ball game.
unexpected is an understatement.
Yeah, I think that's a very good. I mean, I'm speechless, to be honest with you. The way they dominated with that first drive and the way they dominated the running game, they outgained them 474 to 157.
Well, Phil Longo deserves his moment. Nigel?
Well, Coach, congratulations. You said that when you're on this team, sometimes you have to have an incredible capacity for boredom. Tonight was anything other than that. What do you say about your team coming all the way across the country and getting this win?
You know, I thought that we would play a better game offensively, and we changed quarterbacks, not so much because Mabry wasn't playing well, but we just wanted to try to light a spark. You know, and while we were making decisions about the quarterback, our defense stepped up, particularly in the end of the game, in the fourth quarter. I thought particularly the defense did not play well in the fourth quarter last week, and they changed that, and that's a big reason why we won tonight. Of course, special teams, 2 huge plays, 2 game changers. I'm just proud of our team. These guys deserve to win a lot sooner this year. I've got to do a better job as a head coach, but they did a hell of a job tonight, and I'm happy to get our first win.
Well, Coach, you hit the nail on the head. Your defense, your special teams, offensively, you didn't turn the ball over. I saw that money bag out a whole lot. I don't know how much you're going to have to pay for this win, but talk to me more about your defense and your special teams coming up so big.
Well, I don't know anything about a money bag, but I know the win is going to feel good tonight. It's going to be a long flight home, and it'll be a good one. You asked me what?
You know what, Coach? It doesn't matter what I ask you. Go enjoy your win with your team and appreciate the time.
That's all I'm thinking about. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
And Phil Longo makes a great point, Ryan, because look, the unsung hero, if you want to say that tonight, Dylan Frazier. What a standout game he played on the D-line for Sam Houston.
And I think he was in almost for every single snap on that defensive side of the football.
13 tackles. On the D-line, 13 tackles.
They ran the ball a lot. He
Yeah.
was there to make the plays, and when the defense needed to make the biggest plays of the game, they're on 4th down. After their offense inexplicably gave them the ball back, they got it done. Sam Houston State,
Unbelievable.
victors for the first time in 2025.
Seen a lot of crazy things here in Corvallis this year. Thanks to our entire team. Jason Arminio, our producer, Scott Barkey, our director, everybody at HQ, and here in Corvallis with Ryan and Nigel. I'm Ted. Thanks for joining us. Hey, next Saturday night, late night Pullman. You can't miss it.